So, recently, Shad Moss, aka Bow Wow, was on Art of Dialogue and he spoke about him on his second album. Was it second or third? With him, was it him and Chris Brown? I think it was him and Chris Brown album they had together, a joint album. And he spoke about the time when he had the lean addiction. And he was, of course, he was having the party life of a rock star, during his days of fading out of Mr. 106 Park. And he was heading into his full manhood of being 19, 20, 21. He was out there, man. He said he was out there partying, touring, and he was drinking, smoking, and all of a sudden, he got hooked on lean. He was going through the rock star life as they all go through in a phase of a time in their life where they party hard, club hard, tour hard, and party even harder. Somehow or another, Shad Moss got addicted to the lean. He spoke about when he was addicted to it, he didn't realize he was addicted to it until his body started to go through withdrawals. He spoke about having the shivers, the shakes, the vomiting, and the nausea, and even the diarrhea of the lean addiction. He spoke about when he was able to, try to kick the habit. He didn't realize it got bad until one day he tried to kick the habit and go cold turkey. And he was having shivers. And he was on his way to the hospital, but he said, I was in a double sweatsuit, sweat hoodies, sweatpants, and I had a hoodie on. It's over 95 degrees in Atlanta in the summertime, and I was freezing cold. But he spoke about the addiction, which was very important to look at the youth and where they're going nowadays and how they cope with life with marijuana, alcohol, and lean has become a drug of choice, and also coping with the pills as well. But he didn't get addicted to the pills. He got addicted to the lean, according to Bow Wow. He said that he realized when he tried to go cold turkey one day and he couldn't do it. He was going through shivers, shakes. He said, you know how in New Jack City with Pookie was detoxing from crack cocaine. He said he was shivering, having the shakes. And then you had Ice-T trying to cope him through the withdrawals. He was having a hard time. And he remembered looking at New Jack City and said, wow, this is exactly what I'm going through. And then all of a sudden, him and his friends were scratching. He said, look at me. We're itching. Why do we keep on scratching? He had to scratch. He also had to scratch when it came down to that addiction. Also to a point where he realized, wow, this is real. I'm shivering, I'm shaking, I'm nauseated. I got diarrhea, so I'm trying to detox and withdraw from lean. You know how Pookie said in New Jack City, it be calling me, man, it be calling me, just be calling me, man, it be calling me, it be calling me, it be calling me, it be calling me, man, it be calling me. It was calling him. But he knew he had to get rid of this addiction. So he had to detox. And he said it was a great thing that he had a great publicist at the time because he couldn't go to certain events or concerts because of the fact that, he was going through withdrawals. He's in the hospital sick. Returned back to the hospital trying to detox. And the publicist had to put out to the media, he was going through dehydration. He said, hey, I really wasn't going to dehydration. I was actually suffering from withdrawals. And he said, one thing about me, I understood that I had to go cold turkey. But he didn't realize the journey he would have to go on would be a real physical journey. See, mentally, he was strong enough to stop, but physically, the body could not function without the lean. So he had to kick the habit. But it was a difficult habit to a point where he didn't understand what he was going through. But when he realized it was withdrawals, he knew he had to stop. And he had to stop right away, cold turkey. So now he's saying he's on a journey of sobriety. But is it really sobriety or are you just coping again, trying to substitute one drug for another? He said he's only doing marijuana and alcohol now. And he does that very, subtle every now and then, I guess. But he said if it's not marijuana or alcohol, I don't want nothing to do with pills, lean, or even that Snow White that gets passed around the industry too, because they have access to drugs too. But as you know, fentanyl is in everything nowadays. A lot of overdoses go on. 100,000 overdoses across America go on every day because of fentanyl. So we continue to have to spread awareness of these addictions that's going on. and understand that this addiction does not discriminate against anyone, not even age at this point. We have other children, even high schoolers, babies, that are getting exposed to fentanyl that are dying from this poisonous drug. We have to continue to understand that, you know, any one of us could be subject to that. But hopefully we continue to understand what this does to the body. And some of us might not make it back. A lot of people don't make it back from fentanyl. You know, they're getting sent to the morgue every day because of these overdoses. And it's coming through the borders once again. And it's becoming so freely to get that a lot of these addictions are very hard to kick the habit. I've noticed and witnessed some things that I saw on World Star. This man's flesh, it was eaten up. I mean, it was eating up to a point he looked like a zombie because of this serious addiction of fentanyl that's eating up through the flesh nowadays because of the addiction. So continue to spread awareness about fentanyl. The lean addiction was taken over in the early 2000s, but scissor and the lean, and people still overdose over it, but they still yet needed to try some of that so-called syrup. What's that drink in my cup? That good old purple, green, red flavor. But it was also so-called that you don't really know it's really liquid dope. That's why those withdrawals are not able to be kicked so quickly, because the physical body of heroin needs it. Mentally, you might want to be able to kick the habit, but physically, the body is still yearning and calling for that next hit. So he explained about that. He talked about that, and he wanted everybody to know this was his awareness. This is something that he went through his rock star life days, and he has no, objective or agenda to even return back to that lean. He doesn't have nothing to go back to. He doesn't want to experience that again. And he wants to continue to spread awareness about that, which is a good thing, because he definitely was on Dr. Oz talking about it. And he also would say, you know what, he used to make fun of crackheads and, people out there that was on drugs. But look at you scratching and shit. You understand? That's what it's called, kicking the habit. But, Shad Moss, he was able to come full circle about his addiction. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people in the industry hide behind the pills, the lean, always look like it's just marijuana. Oh, it's a little bit of cocaine, a little bit of pills. The next thing you know, they're strung out. The next thing you know, you find out that they have, hopefully some of them that go out with an overdose. A lot of celebrities, don't get help until it's too late. And when it's too late, they're already at the morgue with a toe tag on their toe, because they was battling and fighting addiction, silence themselves and secretly fighting it, and didn't want to go out and get help and get a 12-step program. So understand there is help out there about drug addiction, and you can live a sober life and still be cool and still be able to function throughout life and not be dependent on a drug that could be fatal to your life. So let's continue to, spread awareness about, fentanyl, the lean addiction that's continuously taking a lot of young kids to the morgue and to the cemetery. We want to keep spreading awareness, keep coming back, and want to be revealed.